What's up, Internet? My name is Matthew from the Trident Lion channel. Welcome to this complete series into what it takes to flip a home to make it a real estate investment success. This video is a compilation of all 8 episodes of the channel's series, House Flipping 101. This series was an absolute joy to create. To provide some credibility and a quick background, this series was done as a collaboration with my grandfather, who's been a general contractor for over 4 decades. I'm confident you will get value from this complete house flipping guide. For future reference, you can always watch the individual episodes of this series as needed. I left a link below for all of the different episodes. If you're new to the Trident Lion channel, please subscribe as well as hit the notification bells. It'll be much appreciated. Now, let's learn about real estate investing with Fixer Uppers. Please enjoy. Flipping houses is not an easy way of making money. There is a substantial risk when one decides to flip a house. Your decision has to be thought out and researched before investing in any property. House Flipping 101 gives you an 8-chapter overview of flipping houses and shows you some of the do's and don'ts before you invest to your hard-earned dollars that you've saved. Even more important, before you borrow the funds to flip a house. House Flipping 101 does not ensure you a profit. It just gives you the experience of someone that's been doing it for decades. Personally, I have not yet flipped any houses. I'm just going to be the narrator portraying the experience of someone that has been doing this since the 1970s. My grandfather. Now, my grandfather has been a general contractor since the 70s, flipping all types of real estate. Back in the 1970s, my grandfather bought his first house and had to fix several structural problems that he became aware of after he purchased the house. Selling his first house in the late 1970s, he then purchased another house and moved into that one. Renovating that house and living in it was not an enjoyable task. Although it was profitable, it was not a home run. In 1985, my grandfather purchased a house for resale, only to find that the repairs were more than he thought. So he rented it out, only to be called at 3 a.m. by the police that the house was on fire. Losing the house and not having enough money to rebuild, it was in deep trouble. Help came from a friend, and he took the burnt house down and built a new one. He sold that house and walked out with a small profit. However, that profit didn't come close to the amount of time and worry that he had to put into it. Soon after, my grandfather started to build houses and had loans beyond what he could ever pay back. As luck has it, all houses were sold and loans paid off. Not wanting to build houses again, he bought a fixer. From that fixer, there was about 30 more fixers. Some making money, some not. His last fixer was purchased in 2016. So as you can see, my grandfather has been through a large amount of adversity through the house flipping game. It's easy to just watch a TV show and think, wow, it must be so easy to flip a house. I could do that too. My grandfather and I hope that people who are out there thinking of flipping a house get a view from someone who's actually experienced the ups and downs over the years. It's easy to misunderstand the idea of flipping a home, like what you see on TV, for example. They don't show you all the challenges or the reality of all the different cost variables that come into play during the flip. Most shows explain what it costs, how much repairs are, and then what they're sold for. This is not showing viewers what it really cost. On this episode, I will break down many of the cost variables that are needed when considering flipping a home. So first, let's ask the question, how much money do you need to flip a home? Well, it depends on your cash available, it depends on the cost of the house, the condition of the house, as well as availability of contractors. As you could see, the cost depends on a lot of things. Here is a question guide list. Once filled out, you'll have a good idea of the amount of money you'll need to make your flip a successful flip. If you would like to have a copy of this for yourself, you could find a link for the document in the description below. One important part of flipping a home is the location. You do not want to flip a home that is hours away from where you live. Being close by and keeping an eye on your investment is extremely important. Vandalism, theft, emergency problems, and keeping in touch with your contractors all play a part in your house flip. We'll talk more in depth on the location of the property in the next episode, Chapter 2, which is on location, comps, and market resale. So okay, let's talk about the flip. First, you should find a realtor to work with you. Have the realtor let you know the price range of what houses are selling most frequently, at what price, and also what type of homes. Find out what homes are sold most frequently because you don't want to sit on an investment property for too long, because it's real estate. Time has a cost. Upkeep, utilities, taxes, insurance, etc. All of those will be your responsibility until the house is sold. So for example, let's say that the most frequently house that's sold in your area are ranch homes that are valued around $150,000. The home contains 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a living room, dining room, 2-car garage, and it sits on a half an acre. Suppose your realtor finds you a ranch house that needs some work, listed at $110,000. You offer $90,000, and let's say you settle for $100,000. Your very first hurdle is going to be coming up with this money. If you have it, great. If not, be aware that it could be a challenge because many banks don't lend money for properties that are in need of repair. Now let's say you have $100,000. You're ready to move forward with your investment. Be wary of the easy math that TV can portray. Don't fall into misinformed perspective where you are vaguely factoring in cost of repairs and that's it. Don't say something like, okay, so it's $100,000, the home needs $30,000 in repairs, and I'll sell it for $150,000. And then like magic, I'll make $20,000. There are so many more cost variables that are needed to be factored in. Being that personally, I could be quite analytical, I found this question guide list provided for you to be very fulfilling. Even if you yourself do not have an analytical personality, you certainly should adopt an analytical mindset when contemplating your financial investments, because by avoiding some or most of the costs that come into play with flipping a home, it can cost you a lot of time and money in the long run. And of course, you are not interested in flipping a home to go ahead and waste your time and money. So please, for your own sake, take the time to break down all the cost variables provided on this question guide list, as well as any other cost that you and your realtor can come up with. As you can see, there is so much more to factor in besides just repairs. You have the repair, the renovations, as well as closing cost, permits, taxes, utilities, insurance, maintenance. Also, as a quick reminder, this amount will also depend on how long you sit on the property waiting for it to be sold. Which is why I mentioned earlier about finding the type of houses in your area that sell quick and frequently. Once you list the house and it has sold, you may think, it's time to collect my profits and celebrate. Well, before you go popping the champagne bottles, you still have to factor in even more expenses from this investment. After closing your house, you have to pay real estate commission, attorney fees, transfer tax, as well as interest on the loan, of course if you borrowed money for the investment. If after all of these cost variables, you found out that you earned a profit, well then congratulations. But remember, by earning a profit, you'll most likely have to pay tax on your earnings, depending of course on where you live. In the States, you'll pay a income tax or capital gains tax. If flipping a home is something you are considering, then take the time to calculate what the real cost will be for you. Will you gain a profit or will it be a loss? Also, as a side note, if time is something that you value, consider asking yourself if the possible profit is even worth it. For example, is taking the risk and time to buy a house, fix it up, and then flip it over a span of sitting on it for 6 months, a year, 2 years to only earn a profit of like a couple $1,000s. Ask yourself, is that really worth it? But if you see the projected profit to be very much worth it for you and you want to go forward in learning everything that goes into flipping a house and it's something you really want to move forward with, then good luck. Go ahead and make your investment happen. We have all heard of the term location, location, location. How true that is, especially when buying or selling something. When looking for a fixer, you should always ask yourself, if I was looking to buy a house for myself, where would I want to live? There are different strokes for different folks. However, you as a flipper need to look at selling a product that the majority of people want. Most people like developments. Selling a house in an isolated location is always a hard sell. A lot of the ladies don't like living in the woods alone while their husband works. Even the men want neighbors. They want civilization. Yes, there are a few that want their privacy. Even if you value your privacy, we're talking about flipping a house. We're talking about an investment property where you're looking to make a profit. You want the sale to be easy, so you need to put the odds in your favor, where you're going to be flipping a house where the majority of the people want to buy. So your search should be in areas, either a development or a town setting. Now, of course, there are city areas that a lot of people want to live in, and that's where your research comes in. Your search should be no longer than a 15-minute ride to your flip. A longer commute than that can make you lose the opportunity to watch your investment. Because remember, like we touched upon in a previous episode, you want to have the house you're flipping near your home base. That way you can attend to the property when you need to. Comps are important. You have to make sure your flip does not end up being the most expensive house in that area. You should always be in the middle of the market for that area. This will leave the potential buyer some equity down the road. Putting your flip at the top scale means that once they purchase your flip, they are upside down if they have to move because of some unknown reason. If someone buys your flip at the top of the market in that area, there is no room to negotiate a lower price, plus all the fees, real estate commission, transfer fees, attorney fees, etc. Market resale covers a lot of what we just explained. When you're done renovating this house, you want the sale to go quick. So buying a flip in an area where there is a large volume of houses for sale is not that wise. Your competition would only make your flip harder and also longer on the market. Holding on to your flip for long periods of time decreases profit every day you don't sell your flip. First-time flippers in most cases are not that familiar with looking at many of the overlooked repairs when buying their first flip. The condition of your flip, as well as many other factors, can make your flip either profitable or a serious loss. Some flippers look at the cosmetics, such as painting, landscaping, carpet. These repairs and upgrades are controllable upgrades. However, there are some things that are not as easily fixed. Cracked foundations, sagging roof lines, septic systems, termite damage, mold, lead paint, so on and so forth. Those are just a few things that can cause your flip to be way over budget and present you with a substantial loss. So how do you prevent such a big loss? There are several ways to protect yourself from these major costs when flipping a house. Obviously, home inspection companies is what most buyers use. Another source would be a local contractor that has a good business rating and comes with good references. the cost of one of these options may be more than you would want to pay. Consider the consequence if you now own the house and find there is a major structural problem. You'll regret not paying for that inspection, that's for sure. Now that you have an idea of what the major defects, you can adjust your cosmetic upgrades to fix your budget. Always remember that there are still some unknowns that you're going to come in contact with when you're taking on a house flipping project. There's even things that professionals can't advise you of. There could be problems behind the walls, such as wiring, plumbing, insulation, damaged wood, rotten wood, animal damage. Remember, first impression is important, so that brings us to the outside of the flip. What was your first impression when you saw the house and the property? Did you like it? Did it look clean? Did it look gross? Before you even go inside, write down what your first impression is. Then go inside and start your inspection. If you were not impressed with your first appearance, start your list of what you would have to change to make your flip attractive. If you're new to the channel and you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button. It is much appreciated. Now on to the episode. Depending on where you live, permit, zoning, and historical issues may or may not be a part of your flip. One should always be aware of this and by all means obtain whatever permits, zoning requirements, and historical approvals that are needed. My grandfather does not recommend building without them. These documents can take weeks, and in some cases they can take months before you can even begin your project. Make sure you research this before you purchase the property, because time delays with your investment can cost you money. In some states and areas, you may need an architectural drawing along with your permit request. So what permits do you need? The permits that you may need are plumbing, electrical, fire, insulation, as well as building. The municipality may want licensed professionals to fill them out and then sign for them. Zoning issues could be a problem if the property that you purchased is in a commercial zone or a residential zone and you want to change the use of it. For example, let's say you purchase a home in what you believe is a residential zone. Come to find out that the zoning has changed and you are now in a commercial zone. What do you do from there? You could change your plan and make your flip a commercial flip, or you can apply for a variance. And again, this variance will be an added cost and added time to your overall flip. If you flip an older property, make sure you check if it falls within a historical zone. Not every municipality has a historical committee. Not having a historical committee will be a benefit to your flip, provided that your home is an older home and you want to change things up. Otherwise, these historical committees can be extremely picky. They'll tell you what color you can paint it, what type of roof shingles you can use, what type of siding, and so on and so forth. All of these things, permits, zoning, and historical issues, will add time and overall cost to your flip. And when these costs add up, what gets reduced is your overall profit. So remember that all this should be considered before you invest your hard-earned money. What's up, Internet? Welcome to episode number 6 of House Flipping 101. On the last episode, we discussed permits, zoning, and historical issues. Now in this episode, I'm going to be covering renovations. On this series, House Flipping 101, you're going to be learning from the experience of someone that's been flipping houses for over 4 decades. My grandfather. He has experienced all the ups and downs of the house flipping game, and by collaborating with me, we are hoping to deliver valuable insight as to what it is actually like to flip a home. Many times, TV can portray house flipping to be easy, with no headaches, when in reality, reality TV is far from the truth. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the Trident Lion channel. It'll be greatly appreciated. Now on to the renovations. As a flipper, you now have reached a critical point in your flip. You should have a good idea of what your flip needs and how much money you have to do the renovations. However, there are some concerns that you need to watch out for. 1. Influence from others always can play a part at this point. Either your wife or husband, friend, partner, realtor, or someone else will have an opinion on what you should do. The most troublesome person in many cases can be yourself. As you start the renovation, there always seems to be changes. Some you can't avoid, like rotten wood in the wall, under the floor, or on the roof. Other changes come from personal likes or dislikes. You should always remind yourself to stay neutral. Let's say your favorite color is blue. Don't paint your flip blue just because you like that color. I recommend all paintings should be in an off-white color. If you or someone says the flip has no color, I suggest that you hang some curtains in a few of the rooms with color. It's cheaper and quicker. To paint your rooms different colors would be a mistake. 2. Flooring can be a large expense in your flip. If there is a way to save the flooring, then you should. If not, look for your options. Hardwood, vinyl, laminate tile, or even carpet. You should price your flooring and look for a sale. This type of process goes with cabinets, siding, lighting fixtures, etc. 3. As you proceed with your flip, you may run into a potential buyer. That buyer may want changes in your flip. Yes, it's good to have a buyer and you want to make them happy. However, you must remember that they are only a potential buyer. You may want to change things to make them happy, but if the deal falls through, you are now stuck with those likes and may not be someone else's likes. Even if they give you upfront money to make the changes, you are stuck with them, and they may cost you time and money down the road. 4. Last on the renovation part of your flip are the contractors. Choosing a contractor can be great or it could be a nightmare. When choosing a contractor, you should have a two-part process. The first and most obvious one is friend or someone that gives you a reference. If you don't have a friend or someone to give you a recommendation for a contractor, then consider searching for one on the internet or to find a contractor in a flyer. Now, when you follow up with these various contractors that you find and you ask them for references so you can get some feedback as to how they work, do you think for 1 minute that the contractor will give you someone that they've had a problem with? No. He or she will give you a couple good ones or even deceive you and have a friend act like a previous homeowner just so he can look like a good contractor. Make a point to do some investigating into the contractors you consider working with. Ask for the supply companies that they buy their material from. Check for their insurance. Check to see their license. Confirm this by calling their insurance company and see if their license matches their name. Some contractors just give you a number and claim it's their insurance or license. You may come to find out that they copied it off another contractor's truck and use it as if it's their own. It may be hard to believe that there's these type of contractors out there, but they exist. So make sure you do your homework. As we get closer to the end of our flip, it's time to make our flip sellable to the larger percentage of buyers. What's up, Internet? My name is Trident Lion, and welcome to this episode of House Flipping 101. This is episode number 7, which is on designing. This episode transitions very smoothly from our previous episode, number 6, which was on renovations. In that episode, we talked about why remaining neutral in color choices, as well as putting curtains up for color, is a way to add color and flavor to the home at a much cheaper cost. Changing curtains is easier and cheaper than repainting. Designing or staging can play a major role in selling your flip. You as a flipper want the larger percentage of buyers and should always remember you are not buying your flip, you're selling your flip. So make your home as attractive to as many people and neutral, and so people can see how they can incorporate their own personal style into your home. Because at the end of the day, you want people to buy your home. You want your flip to sell. One thing that can help you out in this process is to seek the advice of an interior designer to give you ideas on what you can do with regards to designing your flip. You as a flipper are not in the business of designing or staging your flip. The cost of a designer can vary. The idea is to get advice for ways how you can decorate your flip so that it shows well, so that it puts people in the picture. In real estate, a lot of open houses will make coffee or cook fresh cookies, so that way when people are in the house, they get that sensation as if they're living there. And all of these things are very cost effective, and they help you with making your flip a successful one. Because your flip can be great, but it's only truly successful once it has been sold for a profit. You have to tell your designer that all the designing features have to be reusable, sellable, or at least cheap enough so that you can easily dispose of them. You want to get the job done and making your flip a successful one by selling it, but you don't want to eat away most of your profits just for cosmetics. Let's say you choose not to go with the designer and you try to do it on your own. Here are some ideas. Take the type of house you're flipping and look at other ideas from websites, books, magazines, or even go to other open houses to see what people are looking at and what people are buying. Mirror what successful flippers have done. Now, if you are doing this designing on your own, have some common sense. Have a solid idea of who your home is being marketed to. Like, for example, if you have a beach house, do you really want to put like a deer head in the living room? Probably not, because how many deer are at the beach? How many hunters are going to be living on that beach house? But if you have a cabin in the woods, in an area that's known for deer hunting, then of course, hang that up over the fireplace. Make sure that whatever you're adding to the home actually makes sense for the location of it. The home that you're trying to sell is like a template. You want to make it clean, you want to make it organized, but you want to make most of the home very neutral so people can input their own imagination into the home, so they can see where their kids' room's going to be, so they can see what they want to do with the kitchen, so they can see where they want to put their recreational room. If your designing is so over the top to the point where it's distracting buyers, then you're working against yourself. Remember, the main goal is to get your flip sold. Now, if you do decide to move forward with a designer, one good idea is that you could put their information on the table during open houses for reference. The designer can also help potential buyers organize their ideas into the home. Keep it simple, keep it clean, allow visual space for buyers to imagine what it would be like for them living there. At the end of the day, your goal is to sell that house. You're an investor, you're a salesperson, you're not a designer. Don't lose track of your main objective. For your whole project depends on your investment making you money, not to lose money, which is most important. A lot of people feel that doing their house sale as a for sale by owner can save them a lot of money because they don't have to pay a realtor any commission. Time is money, and time is at a risk. Keeping a house over time can cost money. Think about everything that you have to pay: taxes, insurance, utilities, maintenance. So if you can find a realtor that can get your house sold quickly and efficiently, I would say outsource the work, pay them their commission, and get your house sold and lock in your profit. Putting your house for sale with a realtor is going to give you maximum exposure. The whole reason for flipping a house is to make money. Look for ways to lock in profits. Outsource the work when you have to. Realtors know what they're doing. Find a good realtor, find a listing agent, find one that's going to be able to sell your house as soon as possible. Consider these things when you're going to go about selling your house. Because like I was just mentioning, a for sale by owner seems like it's the most appealing because you don't have to pay a realtor any commission. But if they could sell it faster for you and save you time and money, then outsource the work. Another thought in your process of marketing is the price you put in at. Marketing your investment at a higher price over market value can make you sit on it for a long time. After a while of it being on the market and not selling, it may lead buyers thinking something is wrong with the house. Why is it not selling? Marketing is so important. And remember, when you're in the process of flipping your house, the marketing side of it, the selling side of it, the end goal is just as important, if not more important, than the repairs part of it. Yes, when you're flipping a home, you gotta fix things. You gotta fix the broken toilet. You gotta fix the broken ceiling. You gotta repair the roof. But if your house doesn't sell, and it doesn't sell efficiently, then you're wasting your time and you're wasting your money. Good luck in your flip. And me and my grandfather hope that this series of House Flipping 101 helps you in your house flipping venture. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video, as well as this series, House Flipping 101, that was done by me and my grandfather. My grandfather has been a general contractor since the 1970s, so he's been able to pass decades and decades of experience on to me. If you guys like this video, if you wouldn't mind, please sharing it. Also, if you're new to this channel, please hit subscribe as well as the notification bell. It'll be greatly appreciated. My name is Matthew, aka Trident Lion, and until the next video, remember, always be learning, always be creating, and always be inspired.